Hi everybody. Today I'm going to be making a video on how I combated my social anxiety disorder. So, if you guys know anything about social anxiety is a very debilitating mental illness. Well, I consider it a mental illness. It's a mental, you know, it's debilitating because you can't be as social as your peers. You can't be as social as the people around you because you're too afraid. And, that's why it's called social anxiety, because you have anxiety, fear, you overthink and you get afraid of other people in social situations. And that's what social anxiety is. So, I used to have severe social anxiety when I was, I think it started in about 7th grade because I had cut my hair super short, and that made my self-esteem go down the toilet because my hair had always been long. It has always been like down here, and all of a sudden it's short. I had to cut it because I was young and I didn't know how to take care of my hair because, as you can see, it's very curly, and as you can imagine, it's a little bit difficult for a 6-year-old to grasp how to take care of some curly hair by themselves. So there's that. And because I wouldn't let my mom comb my hair, and I just didn't comb it because it was too hard for me, because it hurt too much. I didn't realize that you had to do it in the shower. So now I know. But anyway, so I cut my hair really short, and my self-esteem just went down the toilets from there. And I just got to the point where I started just in the hallway. I would always look down at the floor, and I would always just wonder what everyone else was thinking. I would always think that everyone else was staring at me, even though that's not the case. But for some reason, every voice in my head told me that everyone was always staring at me, like I got all the attention because I was so shy. Now, I mean, people noticed I was shy, but I'm not going to say that I got all the attention, but I definitely did get attention. So that's what happens when you look down at the ground and you never look at people in the face. That's what happens. So there's that. And for years and years, for all of middle school, people bullied me because I was shy and I'd look at the ground, stuff like that. And, being overweight as a kid is just, that's how it rolls. And I didn't really talk to people because, well, I was afraid, and that's really it. And I'm kind of glad I didn't, because I probably would have had an early pregnancy because I was a really, really horny little kid. I'm just throwing that out there, just because. As a 14-year-old, I was definitely just very horny. I don't know. To put it simply, I was just horny. And I think if I would have talked to people, I would have probably had, a lot of sex, and I probably would have ended up as a pregnant teen or something horrible. Who knows? Who knows? But we'll never know because that never happened. Now, on to high school. High school was about the same. And then in 10th grade, I got my first prescribed medication for social anxiety disorder. Now, I went to the clinic, and they, prescribed me medication for, I think it was ADD, and I do have that too. But it was supposed to make the chemicals in your brain, it was supposed to calm you down, because with ADD, you're hyperactive, your brain is hyperactive or whatever. It's kind of the same thing with social anxiety. You're definitely overactive, your brain reacts in a crazy way, and it's just really insane. So there's that. And I just want to tell you guys that the medicine did help at first. Now I'm going to tell you it helped for about a year, and then the effects ended up wearing off, and I took other medications, and none of them seemed to work. So eventually I stopped taking my medications, and I think I was in 12th grade when I first got invited to smoke some pot. Now, I'm not telling you to go smoke pot, but I'm going to tell you my experience with it. when I smoked pot, I felt giddy. I felt like the world was interesting. I felt paranoid. That's a common side effect, is paranoia. So if you're already paranoid, you don't need to be smoking. I'm telling you that much. But the day after I smoked weed, um, I felt slightly calmer. I felt like I didn't have as much anxiety the day after, not the day of. So there's that. And I smoked weed, I think, 2 other times after that with this kid that I knew. But it didn't necessarily help me with that, but it definitely was an experience. I mean, I never got high before I was 17, so there's that. So there's that. Weed didn't really help me with my social anxiety. And I graduated high school early because I was down in the basement, which is a special area where you can go if you have not enough credits to graduate. So the teachers pretty much gave me the answer, because without the basement, I probably would not have graduated, because I didn't study. I didn't ask questions because I was too scared. I was too scared to talk to anybody, to cheat off them. It was just, I was just like a mess. All I would do in school was just draw. And I think that's good, for my art skills, because now I'm an artist. So there's that. And I feel like everything I learned in school, I didn't really learn. I feel like I just, absorbed it for 30 minutes, and then it left my brain cells forever. So there's that. And also, after high school, I went into a period of severe social isolation where I would just not leave the house. I didn't leave the house for, I think, 2 years at all. Like, all I would do is play video games, and the only social interaction I'd have was, like, 2 seconds of saying hi to my mom, because I lived with my stepdad. And my stepdad I was afraid of, because my stepdad had, guns and stuff like that. And every time, you know, well, I mean, I think I went over to my sister's house a few times, and then every time I would come back, he would come to the door with a gun and, like, growl at me. So there was that. I didn't want to socialize with that, so I just tried to stay away from my family as much as possible. I mean, I loved my mom, but whoever she was with, I was just like, that's not cutting it for me, because he's scaring the shit out of me, and I don't like it. Coming to a door with a gun, growling, it was just really weird. So, this is my social anxiety story, guys. So, and also my spiritual awakening. So after that, after all that stuff I went through, I really just became so depressed. And I would smoke weed all day because, that's what I would do. I thought I was coping with something. And I would listen to the same song over and over again. It was by Janae Aiko. The name was, what was it? Sativa. Because I would smoke weed to it every day. I mean, it makes sense. Sativa is a strain of weed. It's a type of weed. You have your sativa, you have your indica, and you have your whatever else, the mixed breed, whatever. So there's that. And then literally, it's just like I was doing that for a long time. I think I did that for like 6 months, 7, 8 months. I think it felt like a year. I might have done that for a year. Listen to the same song over and over again while smoking weed. That's all I would do. All I would do was smoke weed and listen to the same song over and over again. That's all I would do the whole day. And I wouldn't talk to anybody. And I was very into trip reports at one point, where I would... if you know anything about trip reports, it's where people trip on drugs and then they write a report. They go, oh, well, here's my essay on my experience on, what happened when I did these drugs. So it's like a story, a trip story, where they, do a drug and then they write a story about their experience. That's what they did. So I was really into those because I didn't have access to any other drugs except for weed. So what I would do was I would watch videos on people and their trip reports. And there was this point in time where I found this guy. His name was Icarus 480. Now, I'm not a fan anymore because I'll get into that later. But so this guy would he had very interesting stories about DMT and LSD, and I was into that at that point in time, so it was just very interesting for me to hear about. So I was like, "Ah, that's so cool. Like he's so good at explaining blah blah blah." I just thought it was so interesting. And then this guy, he would talk about this musician named Spangle. Now, this musician named Spangle, I looked up because apparently it like opened his third eye or something. I don't know. So I looked it up, and this musician was absolutely phenomenal. I have never heard anything like that my whole entire life. This guy creates music that's like tribal bass and like just, it's so weird because the music is ever changing. You know, it doesn't repeat really. I mean, it has, you know, it always changes, and it's very interesting to me. So there's that. Now, if you want to look it up, it's Shpongle. That's how you spell Spangle. So, one of my favorite songs by him is called Dorset Perception, if that's what you want to listen to. Like, you can listen to one of my favorite songs. That one's my all-time favorite song, I think. Yeah. So, I don't know. It reminds me of dolphins and, like, the story of life. And I don't know. When you listen to the music, you might, you know, it's definitely like a spiritual experience. It was a spiritual experience for me to listen to that music, because I would listen to that music and I would think about my stepdad, and I would think about how like creepy he is, and I always thought like he was out to kill me, or like, you know, he just wanted me dead, or like stuff like that, and I was just scared of him. Like I was so fucking scared of him. And I don't know, because he would just come to the door with a gun and like growl. That's not normal. Like, what are you doing? Like, what the fuck? Like, you know it's me. Come on now. Like, I'm the only one that comes to the door. So, there's that. And, I don't know. I just thought it was weird. So, there's that. And, I don't know. Like, I was in a state of paranoia because I would get my weed from him. And he would give it to me for free. And I was like, oh, okay, that's so cool. Like, he would give me a lot of free weed, which is awesome. So thanks, Jeff. So thank you for that. I'm not saying he's a bad person. I'm just saying he scared the shit out of me. Okay, but I am saying, like, you know, I did have paranoia because I didn't talk to him and I didn't, you know, feel comfortable around him. You can see why. So there's that. And also, when I would listen to Spangle, I felt like the music was like a drug trip, if that makes sense. I felt like the music was making my brain cells, you know, produce these strange imagination chemicals, which in turn felt like a trip. It was like I was using my imagination to create a trip via the music. It was very strange. And I also felt like the music was talking to me. So, because I felt like I was in a prison, like my body was a prison. And then there was this song, like there were these small lyrics in some of the songs that said, "When shall I be free?" You know, and I was like, wow, that really resonates with me, because I'm wondering the same, because I was very suicidal. And I was like, yeah, when shall I be free of this fucking prison? This fucking prison that I'm in. Like, you know, this fucking shithole body that I'm in. I'm in a prison in my head, you know? I felt like that. I was like, when shall I be free? And I felt really connected to the music, you know? And I would, you know, and then it said, when shall I be free? And then it said, no more I, but we, which is also super crazy, because at that point in time where I was socially isolated, I felt like I wasn't just one in my body. I felt like I was multiple. Like I felt like I was multiple beings, like multiple spirits within one body. Now, you could call that mental illness, or you could call that a spiritual awakening. At that point in time, I thought I was going crazy. I thought I had a mental illness, and I was like, great, I'm getting schizophrenic. I thought I was getting schizophrenia. And I'm fine now. I'm 23, and that was 6 years ago. I'm totally, completely fine. But I'm telling you guys what. Spiritual awakening can feel as if you're crazy, like you're going crazy. And if song lyrics start talking to you and say, when shall I be free? No more I but we. And that's how you feel inside. Like, there's not just I in here, there's we. Like, there's multiple, there's multiple spirits within me. That's how I felt. And that's why this music is so important to me. Because at that point in time, that's how I felt. That's how I felt. So, there's that. And it was just very, a very emotional journey. It was a very emotional journey. That's what I can say for sure. It was definitely emotional for me. It was very emotional. I would cry a lot. I would want to die. I would just be like, wow, when am I going to be free of this fucking prison, But, and then it would, like, the music would also talk to me, and it would, like, whisper these things. Then I don't want you to be worried, but that's what I can, like, explain it as, like a whisper, like a whisper of the spirits, like the spirit world. It was whispering to me. It was whispering about, like, Jeff, and it was telling me that, like, he was a rapist and stuff like that. Now, I don't exactly believe that, because he's never done anything to me, but I think it was because of the fears that I had, that I was decoding these messages within these sounds, and that's what it sounded like, because that's how I felt inside. And I don't know, it's just like, it wasn't lyrics that was saying that, but that's what it sounded like the jumbly gibberish in the music. If you ever listen to Spangle, you notice that there's gibberish. Some of the gibberish sounded like some words, and I was just, that's how it was, signaling to me, like, oh, this person is dangerous, my stepdad is dangerous or something. But and then I started getting real scared, because I was like, great, the music is telling me my stepdad's a rapist. Great, what? And then, I don't know, it was just a really weird point in my time. Like, he never raped me, he never did anything like that, but he definitely scared the shit out of me at one point. Now I'm fine, whatever. But, telling you guys what, I was definitely going through the shitter. I thought I was becoming schizophrenic. I was smoking weed all day, it was just crazy. And I would read these trip reports about DMT and about LSD, because I didn't have access to the drugs, so that's as, as good as it was going to get, because I couldn't seek the drugs because I was too, socially isolated. I was afraid to talk to anybody, and I didn't know anybody like that. So that's all I could do. I wanted to trip because I felt like it would make me feel alive. I thought it would make me feel something, I thought, I don't feel alive. I don't even feel real. Like, I might as well just trip and see what that does, But all I did was use my imagination, really. And it was better than the actual drug trips that I've had in the future, of that point, So yeah, there's that. And so there was a point in time where I was smoking the weed, and I thought, for some reason, that the weed that Jeff gave me was laced with rat poison. And I don't know why this thought just sparked up out of nowhere, but that's what I was thinking. And then I kept smoking the weed, and I was like, okay, I'm getting paranoid. And I would get paranoid to the point where I actually started believing that he for sure was lacing the weed with rat poison. And I was like, okay, well, I'm still gonna smoke it because I don't give a fuck. It's free weed, like, whatever. And I didn't care. Like, I was so depressed. Why the fuck would I care anyway? Like, honestly. So, what I did was, I got so paranoid that I guess my reality started changing, because after I started believing that, I started smoking the weed, and then it started to make me hallucinate. So it's like, I guess my paranoia turned I guess my reality is my thoughts or something like that. And then, it just turned into my reality. And then, like, I guess I started hallucinating. And when I say I started hallucinating, I mean I started hallucinating. Like, I started seeing fractal patterns, the patterns that they say they see on LSD and shit. I started seeing that. And, like, I didn't even know where I was. Like, I just was experiencing patterns, and it was like these moving fractal, like, I think it was like a light green and like a brown color, kind of like weed looking colorful stuff. But yeah, I mean, it was kind of dull, but it was like earthy, kind of like weed, I guess signifies weed or something, but that's what it was like. And you know, that really spoke to me, like on an energetic level. I was like, holy shit, maybe he really is lacing it with rat poison. Because it wasn't until after, I started thinking that I started having these hallucinations. And that just, I was like, holy shit, like he might actually be lacing my shit with, who the fuck knows? Maybe he's trying to kill me. Like I told you, I thought he was trying to kill me, so that kind of makes fucking sense. And that's when I really started thinking he was trying to kill me, was when I started hallucinating on the weed. And I was like, Mom. I told my mom because my mom knew that he was giving me weed, and I was like, Mom, I think Jeff is lacing my weed. And then she's like, why would you think that? And I'm like, well, because I started hallucinating. And she's like, well, then stop smoking it. And I'm like, no. So I did keep smoking it. But there was a point where I stopped. I can't remember when. But, there's that. There's a big part of my story, actually, a big part of my life. I know that's sad that that's a big part of my life, but that was a long period of time in which that was happening, because I would just smoke weed all day and then started getting paranoid that he was trying to kill me, and then I got paranoid that he was putting rat poison in my stuff, and then I started hallucinating. So there's that. And then after that, the songs were still talking to me, and there's a point in time where I wanted, to manifest this boy that I had a crush on back in high school. His name was Miles. I wanted to manifest him. I wanted him to like me. I wanted him to, like, be with me or whatever. I don't know. But that was a big part of the reason why I was smoking weed, was because he was the first person that introduced me to it, and it reminded me of him or whatever. But I don't know. I was just so lonely. Like, I don't even know. Like, I didn't have very many friends, and I just wanted him to be my friend, really. That's all I really wanted, was a fucking friend to hang out with, honestly. And he would, like, take 3 days to text me back, and I'm just like, why? Like, why doesn't anybody want to be my fucking friend? Like, you know? Like, you can't fucking be my friend? Jesus fucking Christ. But yeah, because we used to be friends, and now we're not. Like, what the fuck? That's why I was pissed, But, there's that. And then, I also had these people I knew named, Destiny. My friend Destiny. I used to have a crush on her. But, there's stuff like that. My friend Adriana, Serena, Renelle, blah, blah, blah. So, there was this point in time where the song lyrics started telling me that the stars can align and you can get anything you want. That's what it started telling me. And then it had the names Miles in there. It had the names Destiny in there. I was like, holy shit. It's talking about people in my life that it's telling me I can have anything that I want. That's what it's telling me. And I was like, holy shit. Like, that's really weird. I was like, this song is literally telling me on a spiritual level that the stars can align, that I can have these specific people if I want them. That's what it was telling me. And I was like, okay, that's obviously God talking to me. And that's, I even, that's when I really started realizing that there's more to the craziness of me, like, hearing messages in songs. It was actually just God speaking to me. It was God speaking to me. And I was like, okay, that's obviously God. Like, that's God speaking to me. And I was like, okay, well, like, at least I'm not crazy. God's just speaking to me. So I was like, okay. So yeah. And then after that, I just started, I don't know what I did. I can't remember. It was a long period of time where I was doing these things, listening to these song lyrics. I would always watch lyric videos because that's when I really got the message from the universe, was in these lyric videos, because I would listen to these songs and the song lyrics would match up with what I was going through and what I was thinking about. If you really concentrate on the lyrics you will unveil a message, and the lyrics will show you, the inner self, the inner, like, workings of the universe and stuff like that. It's really bizarre. It's really fucking strange. But that's what happened to me, and God started talking to me. Like, God literally started speaking through song. Like, it was just like, holy shit, like, God speaking to me? Oh, wow. I was just like, wow, that's crazy. you know? And, I ended up manifesting that guy Miles. I ended up being with him, so it was like, I mean, I can have anything I want, and I know God was speaking to me. I know that, God was speaking to me. Yeah. So, there's that. But, I know my whole story is really weird and bizarre, but I feel like if I was back then and I had someone like me to watch that went through this stuff, I would feel so blessed, and I would feel like, someone out there understands me, like someone out there understands what I'm going through, because I thought I was going crazy. I thought that, I was like, schizophrenic. Like, I thought I was, having severe mental trauma, mental issues. I didn't know. But, it was just God talking to me. Yeah, so, and I know it was God talking to me because, I don't know, it just matched up perfectly with what I was thinking and what I was going through, It was like, wow. I kind of want to watch the lyric videos right now just to see what they would say, because that's not the only point in time where that ended up happening. There's been multiple points in time where, song has spoken to me, and it's telling me these things and it speaks names of people who I know, and not normal names that you hear every day, like Ricardo or the name Ashton. These aren't very common names, and the fact that they had them in the song, and the fact that the song matched up with how I felt, is just otherworldly. It feels like there's something more, something more than just reality and what you see. There's like multiple dimensions of, states of being. I've traveled the dimensions by accident. When I was socially isolated, I don't know if it's like a different plane of existence, but I definitely know that there's, the dimension within, and, the dimension of, your body. There's a third dimension. There's this dimension. I don't know. There's at least 2 dimensions, this dimension and that dimension. But, I don't know. So, after that, I started watching Infinite Waters, because, I don't know, I felt like he was a good person to watch. This is when everything started, like, aligning, really. So, I started watching Infinite Waters, and then I remember watching him and thinking about my dog Goliath, because I was like, God, my dog Goliath, he's getting old. You know, he's getting old, and he's getting fat, and I feel like I should do something, you know, and I feel like I should take him for a walk. And then as I was watching his video, right after I thought those thoughts, Infinite Waters goes, take your dog for a walk. And I was in disbelief. I was like, there's no fucking way that I just heard that come out of your mouth right after I thought that I needed to take my dog for a walk. This guy in this video that I'm watching literally just spoke to me and told me I need to take my dog for a walk. And that was one of the first synchronicities I've ever experienced. You know? Yeah, that was one of the first synchronicities I've ever experienced. And I remember that one vividly because I was like, no fucking way. Like, there's no fucking way. You know? There's no fucking way. But yeah, and that's when I started taking my dog for a walk every day. So, and then after that, after I started taking my dogs for a walk, I would look at the ground and look at the leaves and the twigs, and I would go, that's a sign. I didn't even know what it was a sign of. I thought it was a sign, but I didn't know why. But I just thought the leaf on the ground was a sign. That's a sign. You know, I just thought that. I don't know why. I just did. And, you know, I thought I was going crazy still. But, I kept watching Infinite Waters because he really helped me. And since he spoke to me spiritually that day, I watched him, like, every day. For a long time. I watched him every day because he was helping me out of my depression. He was like my YouTube therapist, sort of, like, so to speak. But he definitely helped me, and the fact that that happened just kind of affirmed, hey, you need to be watching him because there's something magical going on in this universe, and you're unlocking the universal potential, you know, whatever that means. But, so yeah, I kept watching him, and then something told me to make a YouTube channel. This was when I made my first YouTube channel, but, I deleted that one, but some told me to make it, so I did. And then, right as I was watching Infinite Waters, I was uploading, like, one of my first YouTube videos, and he's like, your gift from the universe is coming right now. And then right as he pointed up, I look up there and it said, YouTube video uploaded. And I was like, no way. That's so weird. That's so weird that you said, your gift from the universe is coming now. And then he points up, and then right up there I see YouTube video uploaded, because I was uploading my YouTube video, and I was like right at that second, it uploaded, and I was like, that's very interesting. That's very interesting that that's my sign from the universe. You know, that's very interesting. So, that's what happened, and I was like, wow, that looks like a sign from the universe. And then at that point in time, I would see 1111 and stuff everywhere. I was just like, oh, that's a sign of what? I don't know. So I had quite a few synchronicities with Mr. Infinite Waters, and this next one was very strange as well. So if you ever watch Infinite Waters Diving Deep, he has a YouTube channel. Really nice black man. You know, he talks about spiritual stuff and, you know, self-help, all that stuff. He's like a YouTube therapist, like I said. That's how it was for me. If you ever watched his videos, you'll know how he always talks about the cat down the road. Now, when I was watching his videos, I specifically remember thinking, the cat down the road? Are you telling me that there's someone that lives down the road and he's like the cat down the road, sort of, like, so to speak? That's what I thought. Like, I thought he meant there's someone down the road, you know? I thought there was someone down the road for me. And he's like, the cat down the road, blah, blah, blah. I was like, oh, there's somebody down the road for me. And little did I know that this thought would eventually turn out to be synchronistic, because I ended up meeting a guy that I had a lot of synchronicities with that lived exactly down the street. And I was like, wow, that's the cat down the road. That was the cat down the road that Infinite Waters was talking about. And I'm looking back and I'm like thinking about it, and it's like, it was a premonition. It was like foreshadowing in a book, and I didn't know at that time. I mean, I guess I sorta did. I guess I sorta did know. You know, I sorta did know. But I didn't at the same time. It's like I knew, for some reason. I thought he was talking about a person for me that lived down the road. Yeah. And there was a guy that I ended up meeting 6 months later on Facebook. I'll tell you guys this story. I do talk about this story a lot, and it's because a story is very spiritual. It's a spiritual story. Definitely. So, cat down the road, guys. Here's what happened. So, you know how Infinite Waters told me to take my dogs for a walk? So, without that event, I don't think the next one would have perspired or, you know, happened. Conspired? I don't know. Perspired. Whatever. You know what I mean. I don't think it would have happened without, you know, him telling me to take my dog for a walk, because this event was about me having, you know, talked to this guy on Facebook. His name was Elijah. Now, at that point in time, I was like, it's very interesting that he has the name of like a biblical angel, because I don't know, like, Elijah, that's like an angel's name. So I do think he was like an angel in a way. Sorry. I do think he was an angel sent to me from God, because I really needed one. I really needed one at that point in time. You know, I was socially isolated, and he helped me to get the confidence and get out of the house. You know, because I wouldn't leave the house at all. Like, I wouldn't. So, here's what happened. I see this hottest guy I've ever seen, practically, on Facebook, and I'm like, oh my god, he's so hot. That I added him. And then I look at his profile up. You know, they have a profile banner. You have the face and then you have the banner up top. He had this model with a gap in her teeth, and I was like, wow, that means he thinks gaps are attractive, which is funny because I have a gap. And I was like, huh, that's very interesting, because not a lot of people would do that. Not a lot of people would do that. And I took that as a sign. I was like, that's a sign. That's a sign he's going to think I'm pretty. Well, he did think I was pretty. I'm going to tell you guys. So anyway, this guy, literally. Okay, so here's what happened. He was cousins with my friend Destiny's boyfriend. And I knew that her boyfriend liked to go bike riding. So what I did was I put a post on Facebook, and I was like, I was thinking to myself, I think Elijah will put, oh, I want to go bike riding with you, as I typed this. So I typed, who wants to go bike riding with me? Even though I never went bike riding in my whole life. I was like, I never went bike riding, but I know that his his cousin likes to do it, so I figured he would. So, boy, was I right, because I was right, because he did comment on my post and go, oh, we should go sometime. And I was like, no fucking way. That's so cool. So that's what happened there. And, it was just very interesting. I was like, holy shit. Like, I knew it. Like, I knew it, So, there's that. And, okay. So, we start talking on Facebook. And, that same day, something told me to go for a walk, which was why the event of Infinite Waters telling me to go for a walk that one day wouldn't have happened, because I never took my dogs for a walk, because they're little pugs and it's cold outside, blah, blah, blah. But yeah, that's why I think that these events are connected in a way that makes sense. So, I was like, something told me to go take a walk with my dogs. So I go outside and take a walk with my dogs. And right as I exit the house and go just a little bit down the street, I see this guy on his bike, okay? And he's got long blonde hair and looks exactly like Elijah. And I'm like, no way. There's no way that can be the guy that I'm talking to, because I've never seen him in my whole fucking life. Like, I've never seen him in my whole fucking life, And I was like, no fucking way. So I was like, oh my God, I think I just saw him. And then I was like thinking to myself as I was walking, I was like, I think he's gonna message me and be like, oh my God, did I just see you? Because that's so weird, because we just started talking. And then I was right, because I went home, and sure enough, he had messaged me, and he went, oh my God, I think I just saw you. That's so weird, because I just started talking to you. And I was like, I know that's weird. And I know. Like, I don't know. Does that make sense? So, yeah, this story is very interesting, which is why I talk about it a lot. It's very interesting. So, sorry, I'm thinking. We go and talk on the internet some more, and I think that's when we decided to go bike riding, was after I saw him on the bike. We decided to go bike riding, like, the next week or so. So I was, like, so nervous. I was so nervous to talk to this guy. I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. Like, I'm so scared. I've never met someone on the internet. So I was like, oh my God, I'm so scared. So when the day actually came, he was like, okay, I'll meet you at your house. And I was like, oh my God. I was mostly nervous because I was so out of shape. I never rode my bike, really. So I was just like, oh my God, he's gonna think I'm so fat. Like I could barely pedal down the fucking street without getting fucking asthmatic, And I was like, it's okay. Everything's gonna be okay. So he comes to my house, and he said he's outside. So I go outside, and sure enough, he's out there, and I'm like, I'm so scared. He's just sitting on my bench, and I'm like, oh, okay, he's just sitting on my bench. That's fine. He's just so comfortable to sit on my bench. But that's okay, because I was just like, okay, well, he's comfortable with himself. There you go. So I was like, okay, well, I guess we're going on a bike ride. So this story is very important to me, because this was my evolution of getting rid of my social anxiety, that's part of why I think he was like an angel. And he, not only that, he has the name of an angel. Elijah is a biblical name. It's an angelic name, So that's why, and then I was talking, the whole time, because I wanted to keep him in my life. And I was like, well, he probably won't like me if I don't talk to him, so I got to talk to him. And I was so scared to talk to him, but I did, because I was like, okay, well, I want to keep him in my life, because I think he's so cute, blah, blah, blah. And then, you know, we went for a bike ride. It was fun. We went to the park, blah, blah, blah. And then I think we stopped somewhere. And then I looked at his bike. And then I look at the stickers on it. And I saw how it said the word, like, Playboy. And I was like, I know what that means. It means you're a Playboy. And then he's like, that's not what that means. I'm like, yeah, that's what that means. He's like, no, it's not. But it's funny because he is definitely a Playboy. But it's okay, because I already knew. So there's that. And I knew he was a Playboy. And I was like, okay, well, that's fine. That's fine. You can play. I can play too. So, you know, so there's that. And I was right. He is a Playboy. But after that first bike ride, he messaged me after. Well, no. Rewind. Okay, after the bike ride, I went home, and I thought to myself, I know he's going to ask me on a date. That's what I told myself. I know he likes me, and I know he's going to ask me on a date. So that's what I did. Like, that's what I did. I thought that. And I just said, oh, I know. And it was as simple as that. Because sure enough, that same day, he texted me and he asked me if I wanted to go out on a date, because he said, well, I think you're so cute and I want to take you out for smoothies. And I was like, oh, that sounds so fun, you know? Like, I've never been on a date. Not on a date with smoothies. What? I've never been on a date. Like, not a real date, you know? And I was just like, okay, I'm gonna go. Like, I'm gonna go on this date with this guy. So we went on the date, and on the date, we went to Roscoe's. And, you know, there were signs that I saw. So here's what happened. At Roscoe's, he ordered the smoothies. And then I saw, because they have this little panel where you put your signature, and I saw he drew a penis. And I was thinking to myself, that means he likes dicks, which is fine. So I was, okay. I already knew that, because he looks a little gay, but, you know, he's so hot. I don't care if you like dicks, too, you know, whatever. So I was like, okay, yeah, I already know he likes dicks. So we go to the back of the restaurant, bar, whatever, and then his male cousin's there, his Destiny's boyfriend, the boyfriend that likes to bike ride. And I was like, oh, great, because I don't like him. He's a douchebag. He's a douchebag that likes to have orgies, and he's really a douchebag. He's like one of those hipster douchebags, honestly. So I was like, okay, great. He's here, and he's going to ruin everything. So, boy, was I right, because as me and Elijah were over here talking on our first date, mind you, Mr. Moises decides to waltz his little booty crack over here and start talking to Elijah. Like, the whole time we were on our first date. And I was just sitting there. I was scared. Like, I had social anxiety still. And I was too scared to talk to Moises, because I was just like, okay, I'm just listening, whatever. And then he's just talking to him and talking to him and talking to him and talking to him and talking to him. And I'm just sitting here like, can't you see we're on a fucking date? Like, can't you see that? And he's just talking to him and talking to him. And then they start talking about, and then he start joking about going to the waterfalls and getting all sweaty and weird. And I'm like, are you trying to, like, wait, you guys or me and him, or what are you talking about? Like, what are you talking about? Like, I don't know. But I was like, okay, whatever. Sexual jokes, whatever. And there's a point where I just really just wanted to leave. Like, I just wanted to leave. You know, I was just like, God fucking damn. But, like, I was too scared to say something to his cousin because I was like, well, I'm shy. Like, what do you want me to do? Just sit here? And I was just sitting there. I was just sitting there like, okay, whatever. So, there's that. And then, finally, he left. Finally. And then, Elijah was like, I'm so sorry that he came over here and started talking to me for so long. And I was like, yeah, that was kind of rude because we're on a fucking date. And he's like, well, I didn't want to be rude and like tell him to go away. And I was like, maybe you should have, because, well, first of all, that's your cousin, and he should know not to do that. Hello? If he can see that you're on a date, and you're his cousin, you should be comfortable enough to go, hey, I'm on a date, you know? Like, I'm on a date. Thanks. You know? At least. If you're that comfortable with your cousin, you'd think you'd be able to do that. So I was like, okay, whatever. And then we left because I wanted to go. I had a headache from listening to him talk the whole time. I was like, okay, we need to go. Like, we need to go. So we left. The smoothies were good, but the fucking first date, oh my God. Moises ruined it. We were having a good conversation. We were having a conversation about threesomes. I was asking him if he's ever had a threesome. I don't know. I was asking him a bunch of questions that popped in my head. And then I was just like, well, whatever. And then, yeah. And then I think there was a point where he asked if I thought he was cute. And I was like, yeah, I think you're cute. And he's like, good, because I think you're cute. And I was like, yeah, I think you're cute. Like, I don't know. But yeah, and then Moises came and ruined it. So there's that. And then we went home, blah, blah, blah. And, sorry. And then we started talking on the internet. And then we started talking about music. And then when we started talking about music, it was so weird because we would talk about like these bands, and then I'd have a band pop into my head, and then right after it popped into my head, he'd text the band to like this exact same band name I was thinking about, and I was like, holy shit, I was just thinking about that one, because it was like I was thinking about Cannibal Corpse because we were talking about metal. Or we were talking about our favorite bands, and then that one popped up, and it was so weird to me because I don't know of that many metal bands, and the fact that I knew of that one was just like, and that one popped into my head right before he said it was just like, holy shit, like, what the fuck? So I was just like, holy shit, another synchronicity. And then I just had synchronicity upon synchronicity with this guy. And I did have a very magical experience with Elijah. Like, I remember, like, there was a point in time where I was like, I went over to his house to watch movies with him, and he didn't want to watch Shrek, he didn't want to watch Corpse Bride, even though, like, he's like, no, I don't want to watch this, I don't want to watch this. I was like, and then I started cracking up because he didn't want to watch anything, and then he's, like, looking at me, and he's like, oh, it's so cute when you laugh, and I was like, and I couldn't stop laughing. Like, I literally don't, like, he was annoying me, but I thought it was so funny. Like, I don't know why. Like, I just thought it was so funny that he didn't want to watch anything. And I was just like, it's like, oh, you know, like, God fucking damn. Like, you don't like Shrek? You don't like the Corpse Ride? Like, what? Fucking Jesus. But yeah, and then I started cracking up, you know, it was just like, and then, it was getting late, so I was like, okay, well, and then he was like, well, you want to spend the night? I was like, I was like, I know he's a playboy. I know you are. And I was like, but I don't mind. And then I was like, okay, well, maybe. I said maybe, you know, maybe. And then I was like, okay, but I'm not going to cuddle with you. Because I knew he was a playboy, and that's why. It wasn't because he wasn't hot. And then he's like, well, okay. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to cuddle with you. And he's like, okay. I was like, yeah, I'm not going to cuddle with you. I'm like, you're a playboy. you know? I didn't tell him that, but that's what I was thinking. I was like, you're a playboy. I'm not going to cuddle with you. But I was like, yeah. So, but yeah. So I didn't cuddle with him, even though I really wanted to. Because, like, we were sleeping in the bed, and it was, like, a twin-size bed, so it was small. And, like, I was, like, on the wall, and then he was, like, right here. And then, like, I was just, like, cuddled up to myself. I was like this, towards the wall. And I was like this. Like, I really just didn't want to, I didn't want him to touch me, because I knew he was a playboy. I wanted to cuddle, don't get me wrong, but it's like, you know, you're a playboy. So, yeah. And then, after that, you know, we woke up, and then blah, 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 I forgot. I think he made me breakfast. Oh, yeah, he cooked for me a lot. He cooked for me gourmet meals, which, with French music playing, which is also why I ended up, you know, fucking falling head over heels practically for this fucking guy. Who cooks for a woman with French music playing? Like, what? Like, it sounds like a fucking movie. What? But yeah, no, that's what happened. And I think he cooked me some omelets with avocados. It was a really healthy meal, and I was like, oh, it was so good. But yeah, and then I was like, okay, well, this guy is literally, like, perfect, bruh. And then, like, I remember after that, he asked me out on a second date, and this one I did go on, but this one was also a disappointment, because here's why. When I got in the car, he had a hickey on his neck, and I was like, wow. Okay. And I was also thinking, okay, well, I already knew he was a playboy. And, I mean, I guess we're not dating, even though you asked me on a date again. You know, like, you'd think you can not have a hickey on your neck for this fucking date? I don't know. You'd think. You know, you'd think you wouldn't have a hickey on your neck on our second date. And, you know, just, you'd think you'd save yourself for somebody if you're interested, right? That's what I would think, but okay. I guess that's what 18-year-old boys do. Okay, so we were 18, by the way. So that's what happened there. And then I was looking at him, and I was like, so, Elijah, I noticed you have a hickey on your neck. And he's like, that's really awkward. And I was like, yeah, it is really awkward. And then he's like, okay, well, yeah, that's, I was, you know, I was hanging out with my ex, and then, you know, I felt the energy, and then, like, we made out. And I was like, okay. So, he had already bought me sushi. So I ate it, and it was delicious. And, you know, I told him, I was like, you know, I mean, I'm not happy that you have a hickey on your neck on our second date. And I was like, you know, I'm not happy that you have a hickey on your neck, but okay. I mean, I'm still interested in you. You know, I already knew you were a playboy. I saw the signs. I saw the sticker on your bike that said I'm a playboy, you know. But, there's that. And then, you know, I think I ended up making out with him, you know, that day. The inner kinky me. The inner kinky me. Okay, 18-year-old me had only had sex with one other person before Elijah. Okay? I was very innocent. So I was just like, okay, well, whatever. I'll forgive you. And then, so I ended up, you know, we ended up kissing somehow. I forgot. I think we were watching Ergo Proxy, like the anime Ergo Proxy, in his bed, like on his phone. And then, like, I guess, like, I was like cuddling with him or something. And like, I didn't want to look at him in the face because I don't like making eye contact. Like, I just don't. Because it scares me. I don't know. It just like scares the shit out of me. I just don't like it. I just don't like it. And then he said something about it. He's like, "Why don't you want to look at me?" And I was like, like, it's not that you're ugly. You're hot. I'm scared. Like, I'm scared. Like, I don't know. You're hot and you're scaring me. But that's really it. And you know, I was just like scared. But yeah. And then we ended up making out, and then I like made out with his hickey on his neck. I don't know. And then like we ended up like I think he ended up fingering me that night. I think we were drinking a little, and then he put his finger in my pussy. Yeah. So there's that. I didn't like it. I mean, he was hot. I liked making out with him. When I made out with him, I saw a face. And I know that sounds really weird, but I like saw this like static face, like this static face behind my eyelids. I saw like this face, and it was like kissing me. I just thought it was so weird. And then when I cuddled with him, it felt like magic. You know, I never knew I could feel that way. I was like, oh, what? You know, so weird. But there's that. And you know, I don't know. But there's a big part of our story or whatever. But yeah. I think I'm done talking about it now. So everyone have a good day. I'll see you guys in the next video. Goodbye.